domination by the Patriots.
Well, it really has been, and the thing that really has surprised me is the way that New England has controlled the clock. They're keeping the ball away from that very dangerous bunch on the Miami Dolphins. That's Marino and his receivers. They keep doing that, they will frustrate Marino even more.
Well, I would assume that Don Shula was not a happy guy in that locker room at the end of the half for the Dolphins. Looking for his 300th regular season victory today. Bobby Humphrey on first down, tied up by Gene Lockhart and brought down by Andre Tippett. You know, yesterday, when practice was finished, we were in the Dolphin locker room trying to get some heat and waiting for Coach Shula, and then somebody was banging on the door. Somebody was locked out of the locker room, and it was Shula. I would think that the Dolphin players would probably have wished that they left the door locked at halftime today, and Shula couldn't get in.
It was a day early.
Yeah. Because he cannot be happy with what he saw in the first half. Second down and 9. A 1-yard gain for Bobby Humphrey, who's in there for the injured Mark Higgs. Humphrey again with Page leading the way, and Humphrey runs it out near a first down as he is close to the 38-yard line.
Well, they ran a long trap there. The right guard, number 62, Galbraith, did a good job of getting up inside. You see the right guard pulling. He says, hey, there's nobody out there. Let me turn up inside on the linebacker, creating that seam for Humphreys to squirt through there for some good yardage. Now, I think this is smart. If your receiving game is not going, hey, give the ball to Humphrey. He's a thoroughbred. Let him run a little bit.
Third down and 1 for a Miami first down. Tony Page in motion. Back to Humphrey. He'll get the first down to the 41. Bumping heads with him right there was Johnny Rembert and Tim Gordon. And they must go to this man now, Bobby Humphrey, not as a receiver, but as a running back more here today.
Well, again, early in the year, he was used as the third down specialist, a guy that could either run or catch, mainly catch out of the backfield. There you're seeing Humphrey go through there, and he's a big guy. He can take the punishment, and he can also bring a little wallop on those defensive guys, too.
And it looks like it will be Humphrey for the rest of the day, because from the Miami training staff, Mark Higgs is now doubtful to return for the rest of the game. First down for Marino's Dolphins. Across the middle, the pass caught by Keith Jackson, and he goes out to the 49-yard line.
Well, you know, I think it's important for both teams to do something this first drive. For Miami to get back in it, they need to say, hey, we've got fired up at halftime. We're going to come out and make something happen. Conversely, New England, they're letting the Dolphins move the chains, come at them. Now, if indeed the Dolphins do score, it's going to be like a big souffle. You hear a big sucking sound over there. Everybody's, you know, all pumped up, ready to play. Dolphins come back and score. It's going to take a lot of the fire out of the New England Patriots.
It looks like the plan of attack was just come out here, do some things that they do well, safe plays, and get some kind of offensive momentum going. And so far, everything's been positive. Now they go back to Humphrey, and again, he turns it into a short game. Just come out, hand the ball off to Humphrey. Don't go big. Remember on that fourth down play in the first half, Dan, they were fourth down and about 2 yards, and they went big down to Jackson at the 5-yard line. But instead here on this opening drive, let's just keep it, get a yard, 2-3 yards at a time.
Well, you know, this is the kind of offense that a lot of folks identified Shula with the first couple of times he went to the Super Bowl. Just a big plotting game. They're trying to keep the chains moving. Then, of course, he got Marino. He had the aerial circus. But in bad weather like this, no matter who you have throwing and catching, can express how important it is to be able to run the ball in weather like this.
Third down and 1. Humphrey's got a first down again. Ball looked like it might have come loose as they scramble for it down on the field at the 47-yard line of New England, but they give it to Miami and also move the chains. It's a first down.
We're going to take a ground level look at this now. If you remember in the first half, those linebackers were really attacking the gaps there. It looks like Rembert was walled away. Hey, it does look like Rembert knocked the ball out, but Humphreys was able to take the ball back in after a favorable bounce.
And now they are in New England territory, down by 10, 13-3, at the 47 on first down. Marino being rushed by Agnew, he got away. Being rushed by Goad, he got away and completes the pass down the sideline as he got Clayton to come back and make the catch. And that was just a great play by Marino.
You know, a guy that has always amazed me with his, you know, he's always working. Clayton will run the quick slant. He'll run any way you want, but here he sees Marino in trouble. He knows if I get deep enough, shake those guys off my tail and come back to the ball, Marino will get it to me. That is something they've done for 10 years. They're still able to do it.
19 yards on the play. Let's see Clayton how he adjusts the route and comes back.
You'll see. Here he'll look back. Okay, hey, Dan's in trouble. I know I've got this guy on my hip, but if I keep running hard back to the ball. Now that's a hard catch. He's coming to the ball. It's coming fast.
Oh, he falls down as he slips on the that part of the turf, and we get a flag going down on Agnew as he got an extra lick on Marino. And Ray Agnew, with that undisciplined New England play, I think is going to cost his team a big penalty.
Looks like Dan may have strained something. He slipped on that slick part of the field. Now, I just got a good look at his cleats. I talked earlier about how they need to go to those rubber molded cleats. Dan's come out with the 7 studs. Now, that's the conventional hard spikes that really doesn't work in this type of frozen field.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 92 in New England. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Well, again, you know, you've got a team that is playing great. The last thing you want to do is throw water on your team's fire. Here, late shot there, you know, and especially when it's a guy like Dan Marino. Some guy that you don't know his name on television all the time. Hey, you can't hit a guy like him, Joe Montana, because officials are protecting these guys. And here, you know, it doesn't look like it was anything malicious.
No, it doesn't.
You know, after second look there, I think that was unwarranted. You know, Dan was down. The guy was just trying to make a play. I think, you know, Ray was just trying to get in.
And he was down and throwing. Scott Mitchell has come in. Marino is up and talking with Don Shula over on the sideline. So I think Mitchell will only be in for a play or two. It's first down, and it's Bobby Humphrey. And Lockhart brings him down near the 11-yard line along with Tim Goad. And here comes Marino back in.
Well, anytime the official stopped the clock for an injury, that player has to leave the field for at least one play. That's the only reason Dan didn't stay in. I think he's just maybe sprained an ankle or a knee, or maybe stretched a groin muscle, because, you know, he slipped pretty quick there. Those are not numbers that you would think Dan Marino would be, you know, posting, but again, below 0 wind chill factor, it's hard to get those guys to catch the ball if you can find them.
They are at the Patriot 12-yard line, second down and 8. With Sims blocking in front of him, Marino slips one in, incomplete. As he tried to get it to Tony Page at the 10-yard line, and it is incomplete. Rod Smith is on the coverage, along with David Howard. And it will be third down now for Miami.
Well, it's third and long, and this, you know, the Miami offense is geared for third and long out in the field. When they get close down like this, they've had a problem getting the ball, you know, inside that red zone and keep moving it there. Looks like Page was just covered up, and the ball knocked, stripped free.
Big play now for Dan Marino. Third down and 8. At the New England 12-yard line, they're down by 10. First drive of the second half. Patriots hopping up like they're going to blitz. 5 receivers in the path for Miami. Duper catches at the 6, and he's brought down short of the first down. So it's fourth down. What do you do now? You're down by 10. It's early here in the second half. Do you kick it or do you go? He's saying go. He's saying go.
I think Shula says, hey, if we're going to get back in it, we're going to have 2 scores. I've got to have the 3 now.
I think he was saying go to Stoyanovich to come out on the field is what he was saying.
I think that's smart. And, you know, in the best of climates, you know, you can think you can go ahead and keep scoring. You better get the points when you have the chance at any time in these cold weather games.
Here's Stoyanovich. The spot is at the 14. 24-yard field goal attempt. Make it 23, actually. 23-yard field goal shot for him. And he gets it through. The 100th field goal of Stoyanovich's career gets Miami back to within 7. 13-6 New England. And we'll be right back.
Got a lot of hot air in that balloon. About as much as we have in the booth.
Those guys were moving up there, weren't they? Here's Lockwood on the return for the Patriots. He brings it out to the 27-yard line. And it will be first and 10 for New England there. Their first crack on offense. They lead this game 13-6. Miami's defense now will come out with 8:33 left to go here in the third quarter. There is Stoyanovich, Pete Stoyanovich, the 100th field goal of his career. He is now the all-time most accurate kicker as Nick Lowry has not kicked a field goal yet today in his game, in that big game between Kansas City and Denver. So there is Stoyanovich at 80.6%. And he is all of Miami's offense today. Just 2 Stoyanovich field goals. Jeff Carlson to Lockwood with Stevens out in front, and they run right into the arms of David Griggs, the left outside linebacker.
You know, you're talking about this Miami Dolphin defense. They've had great play from the linebackers the last couple of years. Number 92, David Griggs, there in on that tackle. He and Brian Cox, number 51, the other outside linebackers, gives them one of the great outside linebacking tandems in the AFC. And of course, you know, you have Offerdahl and Grimsley inside, and of course, Hollier, number 50, doing a great job. I think that is the real key to that Dolphin defense. But thus far today, they haven't made the normal amount of big plays that Tom Olivadotti, the coordinator, expects from them.
Second down at 10. There was no gain on the run by Lockwood on first down. They'll try and go back to him here, and he'll get a big gain here and a first down run. Out to midfield before Lewis Oliver sends him into the Miami bench.
Great job on the right side. That is Eugene Chung, right tackle, Larry Williams, the guard, and of course Mark Cook, the tight end. They just got engaged with those Dolphin defenders. No one was able to get off and put an arm out or even try to get a hold of the fullback there, Lockwood.
You know who Lockwood reminds me of, and when you think of him as a Patriot? He reminds me of Craig James.
Craig James, I was going to say the same thing.
This kid's had a great day. He was not the starting tailback today. That was the longest run in Lockwood's rookie career in the NFL. 23 yards and a big first down for the Patriots with Irving Fryer going to the top of your screen in motion. Play action fake to Stevens. Carlson throws, and Coates comes back, and if it's incomplete, boy, that's a big miss by Jeff Carlson because Ben Coates was wide open.
Well, Carlson was pressured a little bit, but still, young quarterbacks need to realize they need to plant and finish the mechanics and go ahead and throw the ball where they want to. As you get hit by the guy, you just get hit. There, a great fake set this up, but he just wasn't able to follow through and get enough zip on it to get the ball to Coach.
It's like he short-armed the ball, isn't it? Don't you think now that Olivadotti and the Dolphin defense wants to put this guy, Jeff Carlson, in a position to have to make plays?
Well, I think that is what is transpiring. You look at the line of scrimmage, there's 8 people at the line of scrimmage. You can't run against that. You've got to throw it.
Here's Lockwood again to the 46 of Miami.
You know, it's one of those 22 plays. That's where you hand it off, and about 8 yards up the field, there's a pile of 22 bodies. And that's what I think New England wants to do. Just go ahead and keep grinding, pounding, and hopefully Lockwood will come through there and break another big run sooner or later.
Extra defensive backs coming in now for Miami. Lifford Hobley comes in as Olivadotti has sent in his dime package. Stephen Braggs comes into the game too. And now they have Carlson where they want him. This is what they want now. He's in a position where to get a first down, you have to think he's going to have to put it up. 3rd down and 7. Midway through quarter number 3, and New England leading by a touchdown. And again, he short arms the ball. He had a receiver open as he tried to get it to Timpson, and he throws the ball in front of him. That's 2 pass plays on this drive. He had Coates and he had Timpson wide open for first down yardage, and he can't get the ball there.
Well, a lot of times when a quarterback, not only did he underthrow, but I think a lot of this is confidence. What they're trying to do is push those defenders off, then come back. And what a quarterback realizes is you've got to throw it back. Otherwise, a defender making a great break could pick it off. Well, a lot of confidence to get that ball and go ahead and throw it where you want it.
Miami deep men. Miller is at the top of your screen, standing back at the 10-yard line. Jarvis Williams was back there too. Fair catch by Miller. Oh boy, he really watched that one come down to his shoe tops, didn't he? At the 16-yard line, Miami will start. Things getting a little better for them. 6:13 to go, 3rd quarter. Watch 82, Scott Miller, after the fair catch right here. He guides this one in, doesn't he, Dan?
Well, it was almost a near miss, and you know, you've got to be thinking that if he does indeed drop it, sooner or later he's got to come off the field and meet Don Shula standing over there. So let me tell you, he probably was hoping that ball would freeze to him.
Yes, right. Velcro. Have Velcro on his jersey there. I don't want to fumble. I don't want to fumble. Fred Smirlis is in a nose tackle right now for New England. First down by 7. Marino slips one in. What a great throw to Page, and a good run after it too to the 29 and a first down. What a throw by Marino to get it into Tony
Holy
Page.
cow. It looks like Tony Page had a great Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday there. Tony's a big guy, a big strong guy they use for blocking back. Here, Marino gets it to him quickly. Good catch. And then, of course, how do you tackle a Brahma? Big Tony is a hard guy to get on the ground, especially you have a chance of him falling on you, Jim.
Tough for Johnny Rembert to cover backs coming out of the backfield. That was one of the big losses Dick McPherson felt when they lost Vincent Brown, that Rembert would have to go side to side on the field. And another pass down the middle to Page. After he gets collared by David Howard, he's out to the 35-yard line, and he got his necktie straightened on that tackle.
Well, exactly. You know, you've got guys like Lockhart, Rembert, David Howard. These are big, strong linebackers that take people on and rush the passer. Vincent Brown was their cover guy, and they do miss him, especially in those third and third down situations where you have to put him on a running back. And there you see Fred Schmerlis.
His 200th game.
Played in a couple of Pro Bowls with Fred. He's still going, and I'm up here watching.
His 200th NFL game. Congratulations. Former Boston College star. Bobby Humphrey on second down. First down, Bobby Humphrey. Out to the 43, and you get the feeling that Miami is starting to get on a roll for the first time today.
Again, Dan Marino throwing the ball on first down and then coming back running afterwards. Try to, used to run to set up the pass. Now I think you pass to set up the run. Here, Humphrey's doing a great job just ripping through those arm tackles, making some good yards.
Dick McPherson, first game back on the sideline since November 1st. He battled a bad intestinal illness, but he's back on the sideline today. And I think his team has really enjoyed having him back. They have played awfully hard for him today, but they are starting to hang on a bit because Marino's Dolphins are moving the ball up near midfield now, and the catch by Bobby Humphrey.
Again, coming back with a first down pass to soften the defense up. Now I think you can watch for Dan Marino to go ahead and get that ground game going again. Here you see Marino. Great vision is one thing that Dan Marino has always had. You see him scanning constantly, like a computer chip back there in his head. He's looking for the open guy. They're covered. Go to the sure thing across the middle short.
Now they're at midfield. Second down and 3. 3:47 to go. We're late in the third quarter, and Miami trails 13-6. Humphrey with Page out in front. Will not get the first down. He's to the 50, and that's it. Tippett is over there. Howard is there. So was Lockhart. And a late flag goes down now after there was some extracurricular stuff after the play, and it's going against New England. And there it is again. What a bad penalty after a good defensive play.
It looks like David Howard, number 99, got into a scrap with the right tackle, number 65, Jeff Dellenbach. Now, again, you can't do anything. You know, it takes a lot to get the fire burning. You don't want to throw any water on it to put it out, and that's what they're doing with these personal fouls.
Here's the call.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 99 knees the player in the back. 15 yards. First down.
A knee to the back. 15 yards. First down for Miami. David Howard, what are you thinking about?
Well, he's played great today. He's been everywhere making plays, but what you don't want to do is get caught in some little skirmish like that and put your team behind the 8-ball again. Here, you see him making a pretty good play, and then at the last second, Andre Tippett throws Dellenbach on top of him. He just gets into a fight.
Humphrey, no, it's Marino on the fake, and the throwback to Humphrey, but look at the play right there by the man who just committed that bad penalty on the play previous. David Howard. He was the only red shirt there.
Well, he didn't throw any more water. It was gasoline that time. He got him going again. And that's the thing. You know, you look for your guys that are on defense to be leaders and make big plays. You don't want to give them anything easy. You know, the rules are in such a manner that they give the offense every advantage. You don't want to give them anything cheap by a late flag. There, David Howard comes back and responds big with a big play on the screen.
They had Harry Galbraith out there playing Howard. He got away from him and made the play. If he doesn't make the play, then there's 4 Dolphins out in front.
A convoy.
Yeah, of that play, and he's got the sideline. It is now second down and 9 for Marino. And he's got an awful lot of time Keith Jackson, can he hang on? No. Gordon over there battling with him for the ball, and it's out of bounds anyway at the 20-yard line, incomplete.
Well, Gordon did a great job battling Jackson for the ball. Now, Keith's a big guy. You stand next to him, you think he's a defensive end, like 6'4", 245, 250. And here, Jackson has those rubber diving gloves on, those scuba gloves. It looks like they bounced a little bit at first. He wasn't able to go ahead and snatch it back. Another view, you'll see the ball come off his hands a little bit. Never able to gain control. Gordon doing a good job tying him up, keeping him from bringing it in.
Now, that's not a new pair of gloves for him. He told us yesterday that he always wears those, so he is used to playing with those. Big play again now, 3rd down and 9. Big rush by the Patriots. Almost intercepted. They threw it right into the lap of Maurice Hurst, and he couldn't hang on. It's 4th down.
You got to think Dan Marino is saying, hey, what is going on here? I can't find the guys when I need them, and then when I do find them, I can't get the ball to them. Marino, he's watching on the right side, checking the safeties. He says, all right, rotation right, I'm going left. There, just, what else can you say it except just a bad throw by Dan Marino? One of the very few you'll ever see. And then he knows, oh, no.
Reggie Roby is in the punt, standing back at the 50-yard line. Walter Stanley is back deep, calls for a fair catch, and he makes it at the 9-yard line, and that's where the Patriots will begin. Still, Miami is having problems scoring points with 2:03 to go in the 2:03 to go 3rd quarter. Don Shula needing a victory today to keep hopes alive for a home playoff game, but more importantly, an AFC Eastern Division championship. If they do not win this game against the Patriots today, they have no chance for an AFC Eastern Division title. So it wouldn't matter what Buffalo did tonight against Houston. They have the Patriots pinned in inside their own 10 at the 9-yard line. It is 13-6 New England. Miami's been held at 2 field goals. Marv Cook goes in motion. Jeff Carlson gives it off to Lockwood, and he is hit right away. Brian Cox, nice play. Got him at the 10 and brought him down. And it all begins next week with the wild card game. 2nd down. Lockwood to the 17. Tackle made by Hollier, the linebacker, and Larry Webster.
Well, I don't think it'll be very long before we see Jeff Carlson raise up and try to hit somebody downfield, because right now, Tom Olivadotti has got 8 and 9 people at the line of scrimmage. It's not that the line isn't blocking, they just don't have enough bodies to block everybody. And that's when you need to have confidence in the quarterback, raise up and throw it downfield. And these guys, they got a lot of confidence in their fortitude.
You know what's important there, though?
The brains.
They're all wearing hats.
Well, I'm proud to see that.
3rd down and 3. Carlson setting up. Better get out of there. Throwing for Fryer, and he overshoots him, and Lewis Oliver was in the vicinity and could have gotten over there a little bit quicker and made an interception, but Carlson again forced to throw the ball, and for the last 3 times he has not been good throwing.
Well, you'll see the Dolphins up there banging on the receivers at the line of scrimmage. If they can just disrupt the timing just a split second, they feel like the rush can go ahead and pressure him. Exactly what happened.
Now the New England offense is shut down. Fryer, Irving Fears, the receivers coach, and Jeff Carlson trying to get in sync on the Patriots sideline as they go 3 and out here with McCarthy punting now from his 1. Miller lets it hit at the 49. A sideway bounce to the 48. Great field position for the Dolphins, who need a touchdown to tie the game up. 25 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. We'll be right back.
Everybody hates to eat and run.
Patriots continue to lead. Miami has the ball now at the New England 49-yard line. They have had the ball, the Dolphins have, really for the entire 3rd quarter so far, but look at what they have done with it. Nothing, really, just 3.
Well, again, you know, you think of Don Shula. He wants to get his team on a crescendo going into the playoffs, building confidence. They have done nothing but struggle on offense today, and you know he's got to be worried not only about today, but what happens next week in the playoffs.
Just 25 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter. Marino playing on short field now, throwing for Clayton with Hurst right there with him. Good coverage, incomplete.
Again, you know, if I'm the coordinator on defense. Joe Collier, I've got to say, hey, the last 5 times we've had these guys in first down, they've thrown the ball there. They went ahead and put everybody in a good soft zone with some isolation out here on Clayton. That's a great defensive call. They did not bite on the little hitch. It was stride for stride. Marino had no choice but to overthrow. Good coverage there by the cornerback, Maurice Hurst,
who said yesterday to us that of the 2 receivers, Duper and Clayton, Clayton is the talker, Duper's the silent one, but both very good.
He also said they're not as good as they were a while back, but who is when they're in their 30s?
2nd and 10. 19 seconds to go, 3rd quarter. The quick throw by Marino, that's going to be picked off by Maurice Hurst.
He can get up and go.
In his first NFL game, he played against Dan Marino, and he intercepted him. And now here today, he intercepts him at a very key juncture in this game. 12 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Marino is intercepted, and the Dolphins still trail. Hurst made a nice catch. He was kind of going down a little bit. 3rd of the year for him, and a first down for the Patriots now at their own 41-yard line. 10 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter as Lockwood has been the back getting most of the carries today. He's out to the 44-yard line, and that will do it for quarter number 3, and the Miami Dolphins will head to the 4th, trailing. 13-6 is the score. The Dolphins trail. We'll be right back now after these messages from your local station. 15 minutes left. The Patriots lead 13-6. Dan Hampton just said to these folks, hot chocolate for the house.
That's why they got up off the seats.
Yeah. Nice crowd today for a team that's only won a couple of ball games, and they're having a great time. The Patriots have put on a fine show today. Lockwood with a blocker out in front. He'll get a first down. Kevin Turner led the corner for him, and a first down for New England.
The old Pitts play. It doesn't take an offensive genius to figure out how to block this. You get your big guys zone blocking outside, you pitch it to a back and let him turn up the field and run over a safety. That's exactly what happened. Let's watch number 34 out in front, blocking ahead of him, Kevin Turner, doing a good job on a kick out. There, Lockwood gets some great yardage just on a play that was designed 4,000 years ago.
85 yards rushing today for Lockwood. They might have found something here today. 45-yard line of the Dolphins. If New England scores some more points here, Miami's really in a pickle. Go back to Lockwood again. You see, not only is he being effective running the ball and getting some yardage each time, but now he's working on the clock a little bit too.
And I think you can see the offensive line gain confidence with every carry. You know, this offensive line has been maligned by the media, by the press, because by the time they were ready to go, they had some injuries, some people moving around. They've lost Armstrong, their left tackle, a Pro Bowler. They had to move Harlow from the right side over. Then Eugene Chung, a rookie, had to start it. I mean, they've had all kinds of changes in the lineup, and now they are actually playing real good football, and now all the quarterbacks are beat up. So it's just been a misfortunate year, but it's great to see the guys play so well at the end of the season.
2nd down. Lockwood gives it back. This is McMurtry. Tripped up. Nice tackle by Brian Cox. But a fun play to watch.
You know, a reverse is a great play when you've got a good track, but when it takes so long to come back around, and you've got to have good footing. There, McMurtry probably would have had a great gain, but it takes him so long to turn the corner here. You'll see him start gathering. Cox is blocked, but he can't make a sharp enough cut to get back, so that's why you have to worry about the conditions when you call those type of plays. Here, Cox staying at home. And that's what a great football player is supposed to do. Do your job first. Don't worry about everybody else. And when you get yours done, go find them and help them and be in a bad mood when you get there.
3rd down now, 3rd and 6. They put Carlson in a position where he must throw. He wants to get out of there. And he is going to dive and be very close to a first down. Hollier got him down by the ankles, and Carlson dove forward. But that spot where they have the ball right now, they are short of a first down. It is 4th down. Crowd wants them to go for it. I do not see a punter coming in yet.
I think McPherson said, hey, there's nothing left in the bag. We're going to lay it all out here. It's the 4th quarter. We're leading the Miami Dolphins, trying to knock those guys around a little bit. hey, I'm going to give it to my guys and let them try to make the first down and gain some pride and maybe build for next year off this one series.
So Coach Mack, and he would make the decision on this play. He told us yesterday, 4th down, I'll be making the call. And I think he has made the call to go for it. And now his quarterback has made the call to call a timeout. And he says, what's the matter? What's the matter? What are you coming over here for?
You know, I don't know if they got the most fortunate spot of the day for Jeff Carlson, the quarterback, as he scrambled there. It looks like he was well across the line. I'm not sure.
Well, they'll talk it over on the sideline. And Carlson, and that's the backup quarterback, Lee Saltz, they need about a yard. Even probably just about a half yard, actually, as they spot it at the 35-yard line. They have to get right inside the 35. They are playing for pride today.
It's not very far at all. The length of a popsicle.
Which is not hard to find here today.
You wouldn't melt.
Tom Olivadotti,
you know,
sunglasses on. That's the defensive coordinator of the Dolphins. He needs a big play. They are, you know, just about 3 minutes into quarter number 4, and time's starting to get thin on them as they're down by 7.
Well, again, you've got to think that the Miami Dolphins are shocked, virtually shocked, because they are behind. They had every indication of coming in here that they'd have a team lay down. They're fighting for their lives.
Turner and Gash are the backs. Carlson keeps it, lunges up over the pack, and the crowd thinks he has the first down. Dan Hampton thinks he has the first down. The PA announcer just gave him a first down, but I haven't seen the referee. Now, there's the first down.
Again, the Miami Dolphins are a small, active group, mainly fueled by the play of their linebackers. They don't have those big meat men in the middle. That was a smart call to go for the sneak. Here you'll see Chuck Kleinbell right in the middle. He's not that big. He's only about 260. Pretty good surge by the middle there, starting with the center, Chilton, the 2 guards, Larry Williams and Cal Stevens, did a good job just knocking them back off the ball.
So it's a first down. We're at 11:38 remaining in regulation time. The Patriots lead by 7. They're in Miami territory and deep, and it's Lockwood, and he fumbled. Loose ball. Popped up in the air. Still no indication who's got it as they continue to fight for it underneath. Miami not pointing that they have it yet. But Lockwood separated in midair from the football. Now the Dolphins say they have it.
Well, again, as I stated early in the 3rd quarter, if they're going to get back in it, their defense needs to make a big play. It looks like one of the linebackers rocked Lockwood and knocked the ball out. If they do indeed get it back, it'll be a big break because New England was driving right down the field.
All right, it is first down, and it is Miami ball. Dolphins get a big break. They needed a turnover, and they finally get it. Let's see what they can do with it. Miami did. They have the first down. They are down by 7. We have 11:20 to go. They find Keith Jackson. He gets loose and gets some extra yardage. A first down up near the 50-yard line. He's at the 47. First down, Miami.
Again, Miami throwing on first down. Dan Marino knows that is when, of course, most defenses expect run, catch them off balance, maybe catch somebody out there, get them the ball, see what they can do. Here, Keith Jackson shows a little nifty ballerina act on the sideline.
First down at the Miami 47-yard line. Page and Humphrey set up behind Marino. Andre Tippett had some pressure there, almost intercepted. Great play by Henderson to cut in front of the receiver, Mark Clayton, as Tippett was coming after Marino and might have rushed the throw.
Again, Tippett forces a throw that's a little bit high. Here, Henderson making a great play on the ball, just inches away from a pick. You know, and that's the thing. Dan Marino has not been in sync all day with the receivers. He hasn't been able to get that timing because the field has been so slick and unpredictable.
3 interceptions on the year for Henderson, the team lead. Hurst has an interception today, and it is 2nd and 10 now. Miami needs a touchdown to tie it. of time out of the backfield. Ball is caught by Bobby Humphrey. Tackle on the play by the rookie Rod Smith out of Notre Dame. And they are in New England territory now at the Patriot 48-yard line, but they'll have third down and about 6.
Rod Smith wind up at the top of the picture there in a strong safety position, just locked up on Humphrey, taking away the big game, making a sure tackle.
A Miami win today guarantees them a home playoff game. In most scenarios, even if they lose, they could end up with a home playoff game. But a Miami loss today, things become a little bit in question, but they definitely could not win the division title. 3rd and 6. Incomplete, intended for Duper. Hurst was right there.
Again, Joe Collier had his corners up on the line, bump and run on those receivers, keeping them from getting off clean, making Dan Marino hold the ball, make a decision. By then it was too late. Great coverage. You see him up there in a press position, taking time off, buying time for that rush. Marino here, the last second, tries to go on the out, unable to get it out there cleanly enough to make the catch by Duper.
So back to the sideline for Dan Marino with 10:05 to go. Reggie Roby again mishits one. It hits at the 20, and Walter Stanley will pick it up. If he gets to the corner, he's got some blocking. And he did, but he kind of fiddled around too much, and he stopped at the 21-yard line, tackled by David Griggs. Roby had a 1-yard punt today, and now a 33-yard punt. Patriots ball when we come back. All right, he looks like a caged animal on the sideline, Don Shula. They are losing with 9:52 to go. Now, how does it figure into the playoff equation? A Miami win plus a Buffalo loss, they win the AFC East. If Buffalo and Pittsburgh loses, home field advantage all the way through. If Buffalo or Pittsburgh win, they would at least get home game in the first round of the playoffs. But if Miami loses, which they are right now, the best that we could guarantee them is a wild card playoff spot. And they are losing with 9:52 left. Lockwood, who fumbled on his last carry, pushes and pushes. It looked like a play out of the rugby playbook right there, out to the 25-yard line. Good scrum, good scrum.
Yeah, Boston Whalers advantage. You know, I think this Lockwood has become a very big part of today's story. You know, early on, John Vaughn got the start, fumbled on the initial play of the game. Ever since then, Lockwood's been in. He's responded, 21 carries, 89 yards, probably another 4 there. Now, you know, here's a rookie, 8th-round pick. You don't expect a lot, but here he is giving a great effort, inspiring his team on. He's been a big part of the game today.
Miami, everybody up on the line of scrimmage to try and get Lockwood. They miss a tackle in the backfield, and he'll push it forward to the 29. The man who raced up was Jarvis Williams, and he tried to cut in there and nail Lockwood and miss the tackle.
Well, Lockwood was known as a very punishing inside runner. He's around 200 pounds, but I think he's surprised a lot of people by getting out on the flanks and making some good moves and you know, making people miss. A lot of folks didn't know he had that in him.
He'll come out right now. They'll bring in John Stevens as he is near 100 yards, 6 shy. And with 8:35 and the clock running, New England has what it wants, the clock running and the lead. But Tom Olivadotti needs a big play here for the Miami defense because they have Carlson in a throwing situation on 3rd and 4, and he's had a tough time in the second half completing passes. So that's why they'll run it, and Stevens should get the first down here. And he does. That was the same play, Dan, that they ran for 16 yards that set up their touchdown when he ran it to the 1 in the first half.
Pat Harlow, the left tackle, had a great block there. He influenced him up on the left of the screen. Watch number 77. He gets him coming upfield. Then he goes and gets the headhunter. Brian Cox ties him up. Now, Cox is supposed to scrape around there and be there to force Harlow, doing a great job for a 285-pound man, getting off the line of scrimmage and screening off the linebacker Cox. Now, see, Cox is supposed to be unblocked with his quickness here. Harlow doing a great job getting into him and tying him up.
And a big first down now with 7 minutes and 35 seconds and the clock running. First down pass, how about this? And it is almost intercepted.
Well, I think it's very wise to go ahead and try to throw the ball. You know, if you're a New England fan, you hope that your guys do something, you know, intelligent here and there and try to get the ball, you know, get those safeties off the line of scrimmage. But instead of going on an 18-yard in pattern, throw a 7-yard out, throw a little swing to the back. Those are the things that keep the chains moving, keeps the clock going. those kind of patterns, a lot of times there's two things that can happen, and most of them are bad.
J.B. Brown almost ruined the day back for Dick McPherson as Carlson threw it in. He threw it out. The receiver was going in. Second down. Nice run by Lockwood as he skips out to the 40-yard line.
Jeez, this guy's doing an impersonation of O.J. Simpson.
Now, this is your kind of guy, though. Look at that. No sleeves on the underneath the jersey.
Well, you look at the Dolphins, they've all got their arms covered up. Almost all of the New England players were out here sleeveless. They say, hey, we know we got to play in it. We're not going to let it affect us. We're playing the Dolphins, not the thermos. I'm freezing up. They can't worry about the weather. They've got to play the Dolphins, not the temperature.
Well, when we came into today, we were wondering about Mark Higgs and would he get 108 yards, but not mentioning into our conversation was whether Lockwood would rush for 100 yards, and he now has 101, so he's been the star of the day as Carlson is hit as he throws, and it's incomplete. He tried to get it to Marv Cook, and it's fourth down, so Miami will get the ball back with 6:44 left. And right there is David Griggs, who was in on Carlson.
Well, anytime New England has tried to stretch the ball down the field, they really haven't gotten the job done. I think if they would have tried some shorter passes first down, it would have been easier to keep the offense moving.
Sean McCarthy, this will be his fifth punt. And Scott Miller is the deep man back at the Miami 20-yard line. The Dolphins trail 13-6. Good punt by McCarthy. At the 22, the 25, and that's it. Miller is wrapped up. Rod Smith makes the tackle for the Patriots. Well, now's the time for Dan Marino to get the Miami offense into the end zone. Jim Donovan and Dan Hampton with you. 6:35 left, regulation time. Miami starts this drive at their own 25-yard line. The Patriot defense has been tremendous all day long. Bobby Humphrey runs out to the 29-yard line. So a pickup of 4, second down at 6, and the clock running on Miami. Now the second half possessions, and Miami, Dan, virtually had the ball the entire third quarter, and not too much here in the fourth, but here's what they have done so far in the second half.
Well, the real key is the fact that Dan Marino has been taken out of his timing pattern offense. They have been able to cover up the receivers, disrupt his timing. Dan has not been sharp at all finding the guys to throw it to.
Second down, he looks, fires, caught, duper, both feet down and in, they say, and a first down to the 44-yard line. That was a good-looking play.
Good timing. Dan knew where to go, makes a good throw. Another reason the offensive struggle is that they have not been able to keep that ground game going. You know, when you get in the cold weather environments, you want to keep the ground game going and kind of live off of it. Today, they've had to keep throwing the ball, and a lot of times they shoot themselves in the foot and turn the ball over.
So it's first down at the 43 of Miami. A lot of time, so he dumps it off to Bobby Humphrey, who got a great block from Keith Jackson. Humphrey goes out at the 40-yard line, or was it too good of a block? There are flags all over the field. 17 yards on the play.
Well, here we're going to get a good look at Keith Jackson, number 88, come back and help his buddy out, Bobby Humphreys. On the right of your screen, now watch this, on David Howard. It looks like a clean block, even though his head was behind him, he hit him on the shoulder pad. Now that should be legal. I think they're going to call defensive holding on the other side of the field. Looks to be what it is.
Holding. 36, defense. The penalty is declined. They will take the result of the play. First down.
Well, they're going to decline that, but here when Marino gets into trouble, Jerome Henderson, number 36, is just he missed him on the jam. There he just tried to body wrap him up, got caught.
Dolphins right there now at the New England 40-yard line and a first down. Bobby Humphrey, Johnny Rembert, and Henderson get him at the 39-yard line.
Great job by number 52, Johnny Rembert, scraping down the line, not committing, not getting up in there until it's time, then wrapping up Humphrey.
Dan, this almost has to be the drive now for Miami. We're under 5 minutes. This has got to be the one.
Well, again, I think that when Marino has time and he goes and the receivers run the crisp patterns, he's been able to operate. But now they're getting down into the slick into the field. Receivers won't be able to make those crisp cuts. It's going to affect Dan's timing.
2nd down and 8. He's in the shotgun. He's been in it a lot today.
Got a blitz coming right up.
Incomplete. It was tipped by Randy Robbins. There was a lot of activity in the pocket, and Marino almost really threw the ball blind over the middle of the field. Jackson arguing that he was being held.
Well, he had a couple of linebackers coming up right up the middle. Now that's 52, Rimbert, basically running over Humphrey, smashing him back into Dan's lap, unable to find somebody to get it to.
It is 3rd down and 8.
I think you're in 4-down territory.
I was just going to say, are you in 4-down territory here?
Yes. Dan realizes he has 2 downs to make the 8 yards instead of 1.
4 wide receivers with Jackson as a wide receiver. On 3rd and 8, a corner blitz. Great catch by Martin. 1st down Miami at the 27-yard line. They had Rod Smith coming on a corner blitz. Marino got the ball off to Martin for a 1st down.
It looks like the center, Ulaneg, gets outside. We will look at that in a minute. This is just a simple square out pattern. Marino, like I said, when he has time, the receivers can run the proper pattern. He gets it to him.
The ball is at the 27-yard line. 4 minutes and 22 seconds left. Miami driving for what could be the tying score. They trail 13-6. It's a run to Bobby Humphrey. And it's a good run up near the 20-yard line. Henderson and Agnew tackle. He'll be 3 yards shy of a 1st down on 2nd down and 3.
Well, now you're looking at that New England front. They're starting to get wore down. Miami's had the ball almost the entire 2nd half. They're running that long trap play, turning it up there, letting a big back like Bobby Humphrey rip through those arm tackles. It's worked pretty well a couple of times. I think we're going to see it an awful lot the rest of the game.
Miami has all of their timeouts left. They trail by 7, 2nd and 3 at the 20. A draw play, Bobby Humphrey, 1st down to the 15, 10, 5, 2. 1st and goal, Dolphins. 18-yard run by Humphrey.
Again, the front 7 of the Patriots has been ground down, they're wore down. Now watch how many arm tackles. They're getting tied up. They're not getting off their blocks. Now here, guys not ramping up with those arms. Humphrey just keep churning, bringing it on down close to pay dirt.
1st and goal, Miami at the 1-yard line. 3:02 to go. Touchdown. We want to welcome all of you who have been watching Kansas City and Denver today, with Kansas City getting into the playoffs with their 35-13 win over Denver. Jim Donovan and Dan Hampton. That's Bobby Humphrey and Don Shula. They are now a point away from tying up this ball game against the 2-13 Patriots. It's 13-12, and it has been a struggle all day for Miami.
Well, Miami able to go ahead and grind the ball down close to the end zone. Mark Higgs injured early on. Bobby Humphrey able to carry the load, getting them into the end zone.
Remember, Stoyanovich missed an extra point last week against the Jets. But not today. This ball game is tied with 2:53 left in regulation time, 13-13. The Dolphins were down 13-3.
Goal line defense. Who's the biggest fight? Who has the biggest fight in the dog? Here they run the isolation pattern. There, Tony Pace does a great job head-to-head blocking on number 52, Johnny Rimbert. Again, offensive line just try to cut the defensive line down, create a gap, then send that lead blocker in there to take the linebacker out. Humphrey able to fall in for the touch. Watch number 52 in the center of your screen. Take on Tony Page. Now Page is a load. You see him stand up Rimbert, but able to create enough of a gap for Humphrey to squeeze through.
Now, if you're wondering why is Bobby Humphrey in there and where's Mark Higgs? Well, the reason 44 is running the ball today is that early in this game, Higgs, who came into the game needing 108 yards, rushing to hit 1,000 for the year, sprained his knee and has not returned. And Humphrey has come in and done a great job filling in, topping it off with a good touchdown run there to tie this game at 13.
Well, that's a great thing about having the depth of a Bobby Humphrey. They can do it all. Now, this is the play that set them up down close to the goal line. Here, it's just basically a sprint draw, get the defensive line engaged by the offensive line, and then let a big, talented back like Humphrey create his own run. They're running through a bunch of tackles, getting down close.
So Don Shula is even now at 13 with the Patriots. It's taken pretty much the entire second half to get there. You got a field goal in the third quarter, the touchdown here in the fourth. The offense has stumbled all day long, but Marino finally got them in. And Stoyanovich to kick away with 2:53 left. The timeout situation. New England will have 2 when they get the ball back. Miami has all 3. That's Scott Lockwood 40, John Vaughn 24. Vaughn started the game at tailback, but on the first play of the game fumbled the ball away, leading to a Miami field goal, and has since not returned to the lineup. Lockwood has over 100 yards rushing. Let's see how he returns kickoffs. To the 31. That's where New England begins.
He's pretty good.
That's Jeff Carlson ready to come in, making his 3rd career start, his 2nd start as a member of the Patriots. He's done a workmanlike job today. Now, the playoff scenario for you. The equation goes, if Miami wins, plus a Buffalo loss in Houston tonight, the Dolphins win the AFC East. If Buffalo and Pittsburgh lose with Miami winning, the Dolphins would be the best in the AFC and get home field throughout. If Buffalo or Pittsburgh win, the Dolphins assured at least of a home playoff game. But if Miami loses, the best they can be is guaranteed of a wild card berth. And now they're tied with New England. Lockwood to the 40 and near a first down.
Now remember, this is a Dolphin team that started the season 6-0, and since then has struggled at times, mainly on offense, trying to score. Now today, they've scored 13 points. It took them 57 minutes to do that. And also, they're playing in sub-freezing weather. It's somewhere around 0 wind chill. They're 2 out of 8 when they play in games under 28 degrees. We can't stress that enough. It's been a big factor today.
So you see Pittsburgh has won today as we go through the scores. Barry Foster playing with a bad back, but he got in there today and carried them to a victory. Kansas City wins today, and they finally get rid of that John Elway curse as they came up with a big defensive game. And Don Shula's Dolphins now are trying to complete some part of the puzzle too, but are tied coming up near the 2-minute warning. 2nd down and inches for New England.
Well, I think this is a throwaway down. It'd be nice to see him play action and try to get the ball down the field.
They'll play it safe. First down. Lockwood runs it out to the 45-yard line as we come up to 2 minutes remaining in regulation time, and the Patriots are getting closer and closer to field goal range. Great game. 13-13 tie. Jim Donovan, Dan Hampton. 2 minutes left to go. 4th quarter. The New England Patriots and Dolphins tied. Remember, the Old Spice NFL Live postgame report follows us here at Foxborough Stadium. Bob O.J. and Howie Long in studio today. Scores and highlights and the complete playoff picture. That is Charlie Baumann on the Patriots sideline. Their kicker is long this year for field goals, 44 yards, and he's kicked them twice. Today, he's 2 for 2, but as you can see, they've been from close in range. They are at their own 46-yard line, the Patriots are. Dick McPherson's first game back on the sideline since November 1st. This kid's first game in an eternity, it seems. Jeff Carlson, who's done a very good job, and he looks pretty loose out there. Only his 3rd career NFL start.
Well, not only that, but he's only been with this team 7 weeks. He doesn't really have the full offensive package in. He's done a good job for what he's been asked to do today.
McMurtry goes in motion. The wide receivers haven't been used much today. Lockwood with a good block out in front there by Cal Stevens, brings it out near the 49-yard line.
Now, they need about 25 yards to get into Baumann's range. I think it's going to be important to see if Dick McPherson has the confidence in Jeff Carlson. He's going to have to throw it sooner or later. I don't think that they can run the ball in consecutive plays, keep the clock, and get Baumann out there. They've got to go ahead and try to get a big chunk, and it looks like they're going to do it on this play.
2nd down and 8. Oh, it goes back to Lockwood, and right there, big tackle on the play as the tackle made by Jeff Cross. He met Lockwood behind the line of scrimmage, and they drop back to the 49-yard line.
Here, they're trying to do a little sprint draw. Offensive line pops up, hopefully thinking those defensive guys will come up the field and rush. Nothing doing. Right there, Jeff Cross, the defensive tackle, sniffed that out early. But, you know, like I said, they're going to have to throw the ball. I would have thought that they would have thrown it on first and second down.
Charlie Baumann is a former Miami Dolphin. He kicked for the Dolphins when Pete Stoyanovich held out at one point in his Dolphin career. 3rd down and 6. Carlson throws. Did Timpson have it? They're saying it's a completed pass at the 41-yard line. 1st down, Patriots, with 40 seconds to go in regulation time.
Gutty call. Again, 3rd down. Tom Olivadotti, the coordinator, has been daring him to throw all day. There, Timpson comes back for the ball. Yes, it looks like he did a great job of not trapping it and catching it with his hands underneath. You'll see 83, Timpson right there. Now we'll get a great shot, a great angle. Hands underneath,
great
ball
job.
Bouncing up.
Yes.
Great work there by our camera crew and Doug Graber, our director.
Now, New England is at the 40-yard line of Miami. The Patriots only have 1 timeout left. They have just used one of their timeouts. That's Charlie Baumann, 2 for 2 in the day from 29 and 25.
Okay, again.
Don Shula looking and calling over to see if they got the ball back, which is doubtful right now in the remainder of regulation time, as he calls over his on the bench, and I think he's talking with Marino right there. He's all caped up as to what they would do if they got it back. 1st and 10 for the Patriots. Tie game, regulation time. Carlson throws again, and he's got it at the 27-yard line. It's Fryer.
Well, that there would make it a 44-yard kick. Baumann has kicked that already.
But it's a tough wind he would be kicking into here in Foxborough. They're going to dunk it down on the ground as they spike it with 21 seconds left. And you know what? You have to wonder why he would have done that at that point, because they're not in position that they would really have to bring Baumann out yet.
Exactly. Again, Jeff Carlson only with the Patriots about 7 weeks. There's only so many situations you can cover in practice, and you know, Dick McPherson, the first time back on the sidelines since November 1st. He's been able to call all the shots here in the game about time management there. I don't think he wanted that.
2nd down and 10. He's going to throw again. Looking. McMurtry cannot pull it down inside the 10-yard line at the 6. With 16 seconds left, it will be 3rd down and 10 for Carlson.
Gutty call, Gutty throw. Carlson hung the ball up in a great spot, hoping McMurtry could go up and get it, but a pretty good defensive play there.
Boy, here's a guy that has been running the ball all day, but he's come out here and he's been throwing it.
Well, you know, late in the game, he's going right at the rookie Troy Vincent there. Vincent doing a great job mirroring McMurtry, but not committing, not trying to get an interference there. At the end, turning and trying to play the ball.
It could be Baumann's chance real soon as he gets warmed up. Cook goes in motion to tight end. He'll throw again. Oh, he took a sack and takes them right out of field goal range at the 39-yard line with 10 seconds left. 12-yard loss at the worst possible time.
Chuck Klingbeil finally gets to him. And again, indecision, unable to pull the trigger, retreats a little bit more. He can't believe it himself.
You know what? It looks like he doesn't know what to do right now. 5 seconds left as they started the clock on him again. They reset everything and started the clock, and they lost 5 more seconds. Now you've got 4th down, and they are out of timeouts. So they just have to go down the field and shoot it into the end zone here and try and win it by touchdown and just throw it down by there and hope at least that they could get a pass interference penalty and set up for a field goal.
Well, again, you know, he thought on the play before when he made that gutty throw out there on the sideline that, you know, I thought that would be the last time they try to stretch the field. Here he's trying to go very deep. Takes a long time to develop. Finally, the rush gets him and brings him down.
So from where they snapped the ball just before that sack, it was about a 44, 45-yard field goal attempt for Baumann if they didn't make any yardage on the play. He dropped back to pass and took a 12-yard loss. It's back at the 39-yard line, and it is 4th down and 22 yards away from a first down, and we are 5 seconds away from overtime.
Well, obviously, the Dolphins in a prevent defense. They got 3 guys across the 10, 5-yard line area. They won't let anything get behind them.
Carlson looking for Fryer. And it is knocked down in the end zone, and that is the end of regulation time. The Patriots and Dolphins are tied at 13, and for the first time today, we hear boos. They didn't like the way that situation was handled by the Patriot quarterback.
Well, again, all day long, New England had put itself in pretty good position to win this game. Then there at the end, when they had the ball down inside where Baumann could have very easily had a great chance of making a 44-yarder to, you know, he's already kicked one that long this year. Then they back themselves right back out, shoot themselves in the foot, and give Miami all the momentum.
Well, it would have been a tough kick, but at least you would have given them the chance to kick it. Now, the way it happened, they didn't even get a chance to kick it.
You see right there, McPherson saying, hey, no matter what, just get rid of the ball. Realize what we have at stake. The lost yardage takes us out of field goal range. No, if he's not there, just throw it away.
Big coin flip right now.
You're going to call it. We'll have the coin toss and then a 3-minute delay, and then we'll have the kickoff. You're going to call it?
3-minute delay after the coin flip.
I say we're going to have the coin toss, then a 3-minute delay, and then we'll have your kickoff.
13-13 time.
Heads it is. New England is 1. You want to receive?
Patriot ball.
You want to kick that way.
They called tails, and the Patriots
New England is 1
get
to
it
toss.
as it was heads.
Elected to receive.
All right, New England has the ball, and we will come back here to Foxborough. We're at 13-13 on the final Sunday of the regular season. It's time for overtime. Jim Donovan and Dan Hampton from Foxborough Stadium. Miami rallied to tie the game up on a Bobby Humphrey touchdown from the 1. In overtime, Miami 6-10-1. The Patriots are 5-10. Dick McPherson is back on the sideline. That's Joe Collier behind him, hoping that his defense has enough left. You wonder if they have anything left in their tank, but they won't have to worry right off the kickoff. They'll get the ball.
Well, they're going to get the ball, and I think if New England is going to win this game, they've got to do it this first possession because their defense is wearing down. There you'll see the offense finally bring, you know, my goodness, they had a chance to try to win the game. In effect, they may have lost it.
That was a 12-yard loss on that sack of Jeff Carlson. They were in field goal range. It would have been a heck of a field goal try of 44 yards into a tough win. But they were right there and never had a chance to kick it after the 12-yard sack. John Vaughn lets it go to Scott Lockwood. New England at the 5 starts out. Lockwood is hit at the 20. 1st and 10 for the Patriots, just out over their own 20-yard line. You wonder if Carlson might be a bit shook by what happened right at the end of regulation.
Well, I think he has to. He has to be shook because, you know, after you go out and you rally your team, you get them down there, and then you make a big mistake to take all the air back out of the sails, it's in the back of your mind. No matter what happens from here on in, he's going to think, at all costs, you know, I may have lost the game. He needs to put it out of his mind, find the receivers, throw the ball when he gets a chance. If not, just hand it off to Lockwood and let him carry the offense.
6 weeks ago, he was a color commentator doing high school games down in Tampa, Florida on TV. Now he's in overtime against the Miami Dolphins. He hands the ball off to Lockwood, who got a yard on 1st down, and that's it. But this kid got a phone call in from Dick Corey, who he worked with when he was with the Rams, and said, come on to New England. We have a terrible quarterback injury situation. Come on up here. He has for the last 7 weeks. He got in last week against the Bengals. Didn't play well, but has played better today.
Well, he was 7 of 20 last week. That's exactly what he is today. But the thing is, last week he threw 2 interceptions. This week he's been able to avoid those. Unfortunately, he didn't avoid that last sack.
So it's 2nd and 9. That's McMurtry in motion. Lockwood wrapped up. Briggs hit him and knocked him down along with Brian Cox. And the Dolphins seem to know, Dan, that they don't want that. New England's not going to put it up here. They got everybody up on the line of scrimmage.
Exactly. 9-man front. There's not enough red shirts to block the white shirts. doesn't take a genius to figure out when you got so many guys close to the line of scrimmage, if there's 6 in the box, you run it. If there's 7, 8, 9 guys in the box, you know, up close to the line of scrimmage, you're supposed to throw it. Tom Olivadotti there, he knows that Carlson must be shook by the way he took that sack. He didn't get his offense in position to score. He's been daring him to throw. Thus far, Carlson hasn't taken the bait and thrown on 1st and 2nd when he should have.
3rd and 7, 3rd and 6 now for him. It's caught by Timpson, but not enough for the first down. As J.B. Brown was right on Timpson, and New England must punt, which you hate to do in overtime. 3 plays and out.
Well, you got to give credit to the offensive line. They did a great job protecting him there. Carlson just opting to take the short receiver, hoping Timpson can break a tackle here. It was pretty good coverage there. One of the keys in a play like that is you got to have confidence in your guy that he'll break it and make the first down. Otherwise, you shouldn't throw that.
Scott Miller is back to handle McCarthy's punt. Not a great punt. It hits at the 40, but he got a good bounce, and then Miller decides to field it, which was very dangerous, and gets hit at the 34-yard line. Dion Lambert is down there along with Sam Gash on the coverage. It was a 39-yard punt, which was aided a great deal by a roll there, and now Dan Marino joins the huddle, and let's watch and see what he can do with this Dolphin offense.
Here, opting for a free kick. Now he has the option to go ahead and field it. He says, hey, I'm just giving up free yards, might as well get it. But a lot of times you'll do that. You'll be watching the cover man, you won't catch the ball, it'll be a fumble. That was a good job wrapping it up.
So we're in overtime, 12:35 left. Dolphins and Patriots 13-13. Marino, Bobby Humphrey to the 46. First down, Dolphins.
Well, again, I thought if New England had a chance to win this game in overtime, they would have to do it the first possession because their defense has been on the field all day. They're wore down, they're tired. A lot of times you'll see those guys, you know, they're going back to the huddle, hands on their hips. Marino at the controls is going to go ahead and throw the ball on first down and just keep moving the chains till they get in position to either score the touch or Stoyanovich kick the winning field goal.
First down, Miami. Clayton racing in motion. Bobby Humphrey by the run into New England territory. Almost the type of hit there that you could have seen a fumble. Almost the way that he turned, it looked as though he might lose the ball as Edwards made the hit on him.
Well, that's really the only thing I think will win this game for New England is if they do get the ball back before Miami moves it down. There you see Edwards coming in at the last second, head right on the ball, almost knocking it loose. And again, temperatures around 0, wind chill. Great job by Humphrey holding on to that football.
Well, Miami is definitely moving towards a potential game-winning field goal. Ball is at the 48-yard line, second down. Marino to Page. Rembert must bring him down because he had a lot of room, and he's to the Patriot 36-yard line, and another Dolphin first down. 10-yard pickup, and the momentum has completely shifted in this game.
Well, if you're a New England fan, I think you had to realize that they had one shot. It was that last set of downs, and Carlson should have tried to throw the ball early and not getting 3rd and long. But here, the Dolphins have taken it. Pass run right down the field. Again, the only chance they have is if their defense can come up with a turnover. I feel confident Marino will go ahead and score if they don't.
First down, Miami. Humphrey the run. Pushes forward inside the 35. Fred Smerlis is there along with Chris Gannon and Johnny Rembert.
Well, Freddie Smerlis playing in his 200th NFL game today. He's still able to make a play, and now you're seeing Humphrey nicked a little bit on that last play. Again, Higgs went down early. Humphreys carried the load from the tailback position most of the day. Looks like he may be coming out.
That's Stoyanovich. He figures big in this game. He might be called on soon. James Saxon will come in and replace Bobby Humphrey. Now, this is a tough time to have to get in and see your first action of the day on an ice cold day here in New England and in overtime. But Stoyanovich waits on second down at 6. This Miami offense is moving steadily down deeper into Patriot territory, and Marino uses a timeout. He'll go to the sideline and talk it over with Don Shula. 9:48 left in overtime. We'll be right back.
Weekend.
Left in overtime. He's the man on the hot seat. Yep, he's keeping him warm right now, Pete Stoyanovich.
Well, not only does he want to keep his right kicking foot warm, one of the important things for him to realize is that field will be frozen now, that left foot, the plant foot. Early on his first field goal, he tried to plant. His foot gave way. He made the field goal, but it was a low line drive. It's important to make sure that he does, if he gets the opportunity, get that plant foot down so he can kick it clean.
Dan Marino back in after the timeout. And I'm trying to pick out there if Bobby Humphrey returned to the lineup. Yes, he did. That's Bobby Humphrey back in the offensive huddle. So they didn't have to take him out of the lineup. He left, and then Marino called the timeout. 9:48 left here in overtime. Miami is tied with New England 13-13. It is 2nd down and 6. In overtime, Miami's first possession, they are at the New England 33. Pretty good pressure by the Patriots. The throw and the catch. Duper catches at the 23-yard line. And they are in field goal range. Boy, there was a lot of traffic over here, wasn't there?
Well, there was. Marino making sure that he gave his receiver enough time to get down the field and run the square out. Early on, he was throwing the ball a little bit early. There, his line gave him enough time to let the pattern mature. He was able to get the ball out there to him.
Waiting for the call, Stoyanovich with the jacket on the sideline. The ball inside the New England 25-yard line.
He's going to throw it.
Clayton looks puzzled over there on the top of the screen as to what the play is, and they have to, wow, look at this. Clayton and Marino really hot with each other. And they'll take a 5-yard penalty for delay of game as they didn't get the play called. He was changing the play, then Clayton didn't get the play, and that forced him to take the penalty.
Well, it looked like there was 9 guys at the line of scrimmage. 8 guys. Marino wanted to opt for Clayton to run a quick slant. Apparently, Clayton didn't get the call. Clock expired.
Yeah, big play now. They're back at the 28-yard line. Would make it a 45-yard field goal from here. But it's 1st down and 15 with 9:09 to go in overtime. Humphrey and Page now break out of the eye. Humphrey the run, and a good run. New England tackling high, trying to strip him of the ball. Randy Robbins is in there, number 48 for the Patriots, trying to get his hands in there. And they are inside the Patriot 25 again, down at the 23-yard line. He is 2 for 2 today, Stoyanovich.
You know, Pete played at Indiana, and I was talking to him before the game. I said, does this really affect you? He says, no, not really. If I keep my feet warm before I go out, I don't have any problem kicking at it. Again, he said the only thing that he's worried about is that plant foot. That field has been in the shade for about 2 hours. It will be very, very slick.
2nd down 8. Back they go to Humphrey, and he's to the 19, maybe even the 18-yard line, where Fred Smerlis tackles him.
Truth or consequences. It's going to be 3rd and about 3.
Marino to the sideline. They have not called a timeout here. He's to the sideline as the play clock continues to wind down. I'll have to get in there, get this thing called in a hurry, and get up to the line of scrimmage. Do you think he might be going over there and asking where Stoyanovich wants the ball? Where he wants to kick it from?
Very possibly.
I think that is what he went over there to do, to see what hash mark he wants to kick it from.
Wherever the best footing is, probably.
Humphrey towards the middle of the field, and this now becomes game, set, and match if Stoyanovich can hit.
Well, coming into the game, Don Shula said, hey, not only do we want to win, but I want to gain some confidence. This team has struggled, has clawed, has fought their way back into this game. Even though they haven't done it on offense, I think you gain an awful lot of confidence playing in these type of cold temperatures and your team able to come back and win if he indeed kicks his field goal.
35-yard field goal attempt for Stoyanovich. Mitchell will hold. This is for the game. 13-13 tie. 6:52 left in overtime.
Watch his plant foot.
Right down the middle. Miami is a winner. Down at one point, 13-3. They come back, and Don Shula gets his 300th regular season victory, goes over and wishes Dick McPherson well. His team coming in with 2 wins. They played very well. This guarantees them a home field playoff game, and it still keeps them in the race for the AFC Eastern Division Championship, pending what happens between Buffalo and Houston tonight. Good comeback by Shula's Dolphins today because they had a tough afternoon, a long afternoon, but they win it on a 35-yard field goal down the middle by the man who's the most accurate in the NFL, Pete Stoyanovich. 16-13, the Dolphins win in overtime. They're home for the playoffs. For Dan Hampton, Jim Donovan, so long